Hey, welcome back to the Christy May Campbell YouTube channel. I have a really cool episode for you today because I am going to talk about that time I did an MLM challenge for weight loss. And this is actually something I have never talked about on video before. And I want to share it with you, not to criticize, not to be negative or a Debbie Downer, but because this is a real deal. The MLM challenges that are designed for weight loss are out there, and you might have tried one or you might be doing one. So I want to share with you my experience. Be sure to watch to the end of the video so you don't miss anything, and hit that like button if I say something that hits home for you or that's helpful. Let's talk about MLMs for weight loss. So I want to set the stage for you of where I was when I joined the MLM. So I was about 18 months postpartum with my second son. So I had gained 50 pounds with that pregnancy, and unlike my first pregnancy, the weight did not budge. And so I had signed up for Weight Watchers twice at this point. At 18 months, I was about 190 pounds, and I normally am about 150 pounds. That's my normal body weight. So I was about 40 pounds overweight. And I had done Weight Watchers twice, and it didn't work. I was like losing the same 3 or 4 pounds over and over again. And the person who owned the building that I was in was doing a MLM called ViSalus. And she probably offered me the samples, I don't know, for weeks before I finally even tried them. And it was probably another couple weeks before I even signed up. I was really skeptical about the whole MLM thing. And then ultimately I ended up signing up as a distributor in the company because I liked the shakes, but I also liked the idea of making money. And I had thought that MLMs were kind of a scam, but I liked how the shakes taste. So I signed up and became a distributor, which is pretty much what happens when somebody does an MLM, because at the end of the day, regardless of what people tell you, their business model is made not from selling the products, but from having distributors buy and sell the products. I'm gonna share with you the goods, the bads, everything that I learned, and then you can take with it and do with it what you want. First, when I signed up as a distributor, I first noticed that I was compelled to be more intentional and consistent with my own nutrition changes. And when I say nutrition changes, at the time, I didn't know anything about nutrition. So my nutrition changes consisted of replacing 2 meals a day with that meal replacement shake. Now, what I know now, I can look it back and say, I know what was happening. I was removing kind of junk food. So at the time, I was usually going through the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru. I would get my latte, and then I would get a Boston cream donut. Sometimes I would get one of those egg protein sandwiches, but that was my routine. And I took that out and I put the shake in. And then I took lunch that I used to go out and eat, and I replaced it with a protein shake. And so my body started to lose weight because I had a system that I could follow. So that is honestly one of the positives that I had from joining that MLM for weight loss. They gave me a system, something easy to understand. I took out a meal, I put in a protein shake. What was something that I didn't know then that I do know now is that it wasn't the actual shake itself that was making the difference, but that's what they were selling me, and that's what I was selling other people because that's what I thought. I genuinely believed it was the shake itself that was the magic, but what honestly was the magic was I had extracted higher calorie meals and I had put in a high protein, low calorie meal in its place, and so my body started to lose weight. So the positive, I had a simple system to follow. The negative was that I was told and believed that it was this magical supplement. When really now, after 10,000 hours of coaching, I know that supplements are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to changing your body. So I would say one positive was simple system. And then I would say a negative would be misleading marketing. Promises that weren't necessarily true. Because at the end of the day, had I picked any protein shake that I liked, anyone, I'm talking about any protein shake that I liked, I could have done the exact same swap and probably seen those initial results. There was nothing magic about that, but I didn't know that at the time. And so that was a positive, and then that was a negative. I actively recruited people to do this with me. Now, one of the positives of that was that I went outside of my comfort zone to meet people. I actually met that personal trainer, that guy who changed my life and reintroduced me into feeling happy in my body and made me feel passionate about coaching. He literally changed my life, but I met him at a gym event where I was doing samples of this shake. And so I put myself outside of my comfort zone in a way that I never would have, because at the time I was still, maybe 35 pounds overweight. I had lost a little tiny bit of weight, but not a lot. But I met him through that event. And so that's a positive. Outside of my comfort zone to meet people. That was a positive. I would say on the flip side, the negative was my focus of success very much revolved around recruiting. And that made me feel uncomfortable a lot. It kind of made me feel weird. Not because I was doing sales, because I love having people sign up for coaching now. I love helping people with FitMe. It never makes me feel weird. But something about doing the MLM version and reaching out to people and doing the whole like, hey girl, I haven't seen you in 100 years. Do you want to do this amazing business thing with me? It just didn't feel good. And so that was a negative. Felt bad. A positive is I guess I reconnected with a handful of people that I hadn't seen in a long time. So that was kind of cool. So reconnection. And the negative potentially also was the stress associated with that. I kind of felt like I needed to do this all the time. Everywhere I went, I was supposed to look for people to sell this to. And that felt like a different model of success that I'd never been told before. And I guess that could be true in a sales thing, but it also potentially muddied some relationships, because was I hanging out or was I selling? And at the time, again, I didn't know. I wanted people to do this with me. And so I thought if I'm seeing success, then they can see success. Again, pull back behind the curtain, I was changing really dramatically. My body was changing, and I was feeling pressure to tell a lot of people that it was as a result of the shakes. Now, I was taking the shakes, I was drinking them 2 times a day. But if you want to be 100% honest, I was going to the gym 3 times a week, working out with a trainer. I had changed how I ate. I was reaching out to people, learning healthy recipes. I was walking 4 to 5 times a week, like 3 to 5 miles, pushing a stroller. I was drinking water all day. I was tracking my calories. I was wearing a heart rate monitor to keep myself in check and make sure I was working hard and not sitting around too much. I changed my entire lifestyle that year. And part of that I can attribute to maybe the catalyst of getting started. So that was a positive, easy to start potentially. But that's not what kept me going. One of the things that was so incredible about that year that my body transformed was the community of support that I had. I met people at that trainer's boot camp class, at CrossFit, at these places, even at my mom's church, at all these different places where I wanted to go and be active. It gave me an excuse to be active that year and to meet people. The community is what kept me going, and the fundamental changes in my lifestyle is what got me results. Did I use the supplement in my daily nutrition 100%? At that time, I liked it. It's a good protein shake. I still drink protein shakes. But one of the negatives, again, was that it felt twisty. It felt like I had to tell other people that if they just drank this supplement, then they would see the same results as me. And at the time, I might have even thought that. But now, again, looking back, that is not accurate. The reason that I saw those results was I changed everything about how I lived, but I did it in a really doable way. So it wasn't like I overhauled my life. I still had 2 little ones, my husband was gone, all of that. But what I did change was fundamentally what I was doing. I stopped going to fast food. I started eating more food at home. I started walking frequently. I went to those boot camp classes and did strength training. I drank water. I cut back on drinking. All of those things added up to a full body transformation. And so at the end of that year, and it was the end of the year that I was doing the Body by Vi challenge and promoting it, I had a huge transformation. In some ways, I'm really grateful. I met a lot of really cool people. That is a really strong positive. One of the negatives is the actual company and the marketing and the lies that were told. And I can say lies now in retrospect because I'm 100% confident that is what they were, even if they weren't necessarily malicious. And here's what I mean. That supplement wasn't the reason people were having results. And at the end of the day, the company's motive was to recruit distributors, not just to have people do transformations. It was much more about recruiting people to do the business than it was the transformation. Was the transformation the vehicle? Was changing your body the vehicle? Sure. But it wasn't authentic, because that at the end of the day was the motivation. And now in Fit Me, one of our values are realness. It is super important for me to have integrity, to be honest about what's happening up front so that you know, and that didn't feel in line with that. And again, at the time, I didn't really know. Would I ever do one again? Absolutely not. I don't align with the values of multi-level marketing business structure. It does not mean that it can't be good for other people. It's just not good for me. And at the end of the day, I don't believe in pushing supplements as the way to help people change their bodies. That is such a small piece of the big picture that any marketing around supplements that tells you that if you just take this supplement, then you're gonna see all these changes, to me, feels out of alignment with my values, because it's not honest, it's not real. And so those were the big things. That's what I wanted to share with you, my good, the bad, the things that I learned doing that. And you know, the last thing I'll say is that if I look back on that time, I really did have the best of intentions. And the people that I met are still my friends today. A lot of them are in Fit Me. They're a part of the community that I have now. There are more positives than negatives from the people that I met, 100% for sure. That was the best part. But the other thing that I'll say is right now, looking at that industry, I can say that there is far more damage being done by the weight loss programs that are put out by MLM companies. And so what I mean is the 21-day hurry up and lose as fast as you can, the cleanses, the wraps, all of these things are a part of the problem because they're selling something that is not true. And people are buying it because, just like I did, they felt really stuck. They feel really unhappy. Maybe you do. Maybe you feel really like, I'm trying all the things, it's not working. Maybe like easy to start, I understand the system, I can do this, you know, my friends are doing it. All of that pressure tells you that putting on that wrap or that buying that cleanse or that doing that, you know, meal replacement thing is going to be the solution for you. And at the end of the day, that's just not true. And along the way, you're going to spend a ton of money on the belief that it could be true. And you might even recruit a whole bunch of people to do it with you who also desperately want to believe that it's true. And so this is my advice to you, is that if you are using supplements from an MLM company and you like them, keep using them. If you like them and they fit into your day, they help you, give you a system that you know how to use, by all means, keep doing it. If you are hoping that that one supplement is gonna be the ticket to change everything, then go ahead and let it go and start working on the basics. Start working on the habits, because that's actually what's gonna matter. And if you are feeling like, man, I just don't love all those other things and I don't want to do it, then I hear you, because that's where I'm at too, and that's where I was at when I walked away from it. You can take the positives from those experiences just like I did and move forward. And you can be a part of something different, which is giving yourself the real changes that you need to make, as opposed to sort of hopes and dreams that are tied to recruiting distributors and business success. I hope you learned something. I hope I gave you some takeaways. Again, there's no judgment here. The best thing I can say is that if you were a part of my life during that season, I'm so grateful for you. That was a hard season for me. I was working so hard on changing my body. I'm glad we connected. I'm glad we got to do that together. And in retrospect, I can say that the best part of it was connecting with you. But now I feel like we can do something different. I got a little teary there, but I think it's because it means a lot to me, those people that I met. And I don't want you to feel like I'm criticizing you or what you're doing. It's not about that at all. Because I have a feeling that you're like me, you have the best of intentions and you want to do something, but there's so much marketing hype around MLM. There's so much BS being pimped, things that are supposed to help you that really won't. And if you cut through all that BS, you can see that at the end of the day, it's just supplements. And supplements are about this much of the big picture. And so don't put this much of your money into this much solution, especially if it gives you that much heartache. Thanks again for plugging in to my YouTube channel. I hope this was a good episode. Be sure to subscribe so you get next week's episode, and I will talk to you later. Bye.